Ah, what an entrance, a scream. Good morning, racers. Good morning. Welcome to For Your Morning Coffee, the morning talk, chat, discussion, live stream thing where we choose a different topic, we talk about it, a little discussion, and topics like today may help you out in the long run. So we're going to talk today about psychology in sim racing. What kind of things can you do? What effect it has on driving ability in races, pre-races, post-race? What can you do to improve it? That kind of stuff. We're going to have a good old discussion today about it. So it's pretty interesting. I think I just did a module in sports psychology at the end of my university degree, and that was pretty interesting, I found. So I think a lot of it relates over to this, or is transferable over to racing or sim racing or whatever it is. But yes, this is a bed. It's turned on its side. The wall is like directly behind the green screen. This is what I'm working in, guys. This is the space that I'm working in. But first, before we do that, I got up really early today, so coffee is actually drinkable at the start of the stream. Yes, that's how early I got up today. Little recap of the weekend, how it went. You know, we hit 2K on Thursday or Friday or whatever it was. We hit 2K, and it's been awesome ever since. I think we're on like 2.1 something now, low 2.1s, and it's awesome. So if we can just continue that growth, I will be a happy man. And the content that we've got coming out over the next couple of weeks is mostly video content because I'm going away again. I know, vacation, James, all that kind of whatever. But it's going to be really cool. A lot of cool videos coming out on Gran Turismo for sure. So this weekend saw the return of FIAs on Gran Turismo. Obviously, last Wednesday we had a break, and Saturday FIA was back. We had the Super Cup. We had the Nations Cup, which was Group 2 around Fuji. And then we had the Manufacturers, which was Group 3 around Red Bull Ring. Really freaking cool. We got 900 points maybe in the Super Cup. We got just over 1,000, maybe at 1,000, just over 1,000. Not enough for 1.1k, but just over 1,000 on that. And then in the Manufacturers for Mazda, we got 2,093 points. Can I have a round of applause? 2,093 points, which is absolutely insane for Mazda. I think I looked at the Mazda leaderboards, and only Slent, who is the top Mazda, and myself have got 2,000 points in a Mazda. 2 people in EMEA, only 2, and I'm one of them. So that's really, really freaking cool. We raced really well, really well, and I think most of it, or some of it at least, came down to some kind of psychology or mentality thing that we went through that race. So we're going to talk about that. Good morning, Adam. Good morning, Mr. Dragon. Mazda smells funny. It's going to be rough this Wednesday at Autopolis, let me tell you. I did a bit of testing last night. It's rough. Really, really well. So really freaking cool weekend. I was absolutely buzzing. You know, that is the pinnacle of playing Gran Turismo or a racing game, is when you have a race like that and you've raced really well and you finish it off, and you actually finish on a positive note rather than murdering yourself or making a silly mistake. it feels really good. It feels really damn good. And those are the moments that we live for as sim racers or gamers or whatever you want to call us. So that was really cool. And then with Dodge as well, I did on my USA account start leveling up Dodge. Obviously, we have that whole Making Dodge Great Again series. I raced in Dodge and won £900. 900 pounds, 900 points. Finished first, finished about 15 seconds in front. It was the same with the Nations as well, which was about 700 points. It was in a BS lobby, so I was one of the few times that I'm going to be very OP in the game, so I'll just take it. So a video will be coming out next week. Actually, I'm backing up my videos, so I have this week all recorded and then next week all recorded for when I'm away as well. A lot of work being put in, but it's worthy work, so you actually have content rather than, you know, when I went away to America, you didn't have any content because I was just live streaming all the time. I've sort of gone, okay, I can't live stream all the time. I need to actually work on doing some videos. So this morning I'm moving out of this house tomorrow, moving back to Suffolk for a couple of weeks before I go to America. So this morning I'm going to just clean my whole house, get everything actually packed, and then we're going to do a midday stream, stream the new weekly races, and then this afternoon I can just make content all afternoon. So destroy the FIAs. We did destroy it. It's literally I've done a recap video of the 3 races, so the Supra, the Nations, and the manufacturers, and it's literally 8 minutes long. That's how much went on. It was like some stuff went down in the Supra race, which you'll see is, I don't want to talk about it. You're just going to have to see it for yourself when it comes out. But then the Nations race and the manufacturers race, it was just like, yep, start at the front, see you later. Nothing really happened. But you could tell that it was an American server because in the Nations race, there was someone driving around the track the wrong way. I did not expect that from BS drivers, to be honest. I expect that of E drivers, but not of BS drivers. Good morning, Swift. How you doing? Nice to see you. So that's really cool. We had a lot of fun in the open lobbies yesterday. Oh my God, we had fun. We had a lot of fun after the FIAs as well, doing the Trump versus immigrants race. Oh my God. So to be honest, the last couple of streams have been absolutely fantastic. Since they're not massively viewed, they're not like they used to be. We're not getting 1,000 views per stream. We're getting around 500, 600. So, but the watch time is crazy. The other day, which one was it? The FIA one on Saturday, the average watch time was 19 minutes. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you think of a live stream and people coming in and going away and new people coming in and going, nah, probably not this time, you know, it might be downtime between races or something like that. 19 minutes is a long time. It's possibly the second highest average watch time on a live stream I've ever had. So that just means that people tuning into the live stream were actually tuning in and staying for a while, which is obviously, as a content creator and a live streamer, that's what I want. So absolutely fantastic. Really, really enjoyed that bit of information. So that is a recap. Yeah, recapped. What we're going to do today is daily races at midday at 12. Getting your DR back up before the new dailies. So smart idea. So, a bit of it was weird. So last night, so I've got 3 accounts, 3 Gran Turismo accounts. I've got my original King Jev. I've got my Jev James, which is my driver racing one, my team racing one, and then obviously Jev USA, which is my account for when I'm going to be in America. Because it's USA based, it's got a USA flag on it, so I'm going to be better connected to the races out there when I'm out there. So that's what I use Jev USA for. So I'm going to see how much DR I can get by just using the Dodge Viper in the daily races. So hopefully there's a GR4 or a GR3 race each week in dailies. Jev James is, I just want to keep that at A+, and maybe I want to try and get that up to like 65, 70 driver rating one day, just so I can be in top split if I ever raced again with that account. Maybe, who knows, if I'm even good enough to do that. And then the King Jev one, I want to be super low DR and SR, so I can do last to first challenges that will be interesting. As you know, I'll be racing slower people, so there's a better chance of me getting all the way through to the front. Because if I'm an A+ driver, I'm going to be put in lobbies with A+ drivers. So starting at the back and making my way through that and getting to the front is extremely hard. That's what she said. So having that little bit lower is going to be able to more exciting races, I think. So morning, RibbZ. How you doing, man? So last night I was trying to reset my King Jev account. I was trying to reset it by getting penalties. Now, I don't like hitting people because I'm a nice human being. So I was just trying to bump people in the back. And this happened before. I tried to reset one of my... I was trying to reset one of my accounts before, and I couldn't, for the life of me, get penalties. I was cutting corners. I was intentionally bumping into people to get that little freaking orange SR down, and it wasn't happening. But then when we tried to race clean and just the smallest bit of touch, and then we get the SR down, it doesn't make any sense. So first race, I didn't even have the Toyota for race B, so I couldn't even catch them. So I had like one person I was like bumping into the back of, couldn't get anything, cut a corner, got a 1.5 second penalty. And I was like, oh, and they're all gone now. So I just need to figure out a different way of getting penalties. So I just started crashing into walls. So I accumulated around 20 seconds of penalties for colliding with barriers. And then I quit the race just before the end. No SR down. No SR down. Nothing at all. Just a little bit of DR down for finishing last. Nothing for quitting. Nothing for all of the contact penalties. What I found out is, and what we talked about in chat is, the only way that you go down in SR is contact with other drivers. So it doesn't include, in my experience, it doesn't include corner cuts, and it doesn't include contact with walls that are on your, like, off your own back, like just driving straight into a wall. That doesn't affect your SR. So it has to be contact with another racer, which then I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to have to bully someone. So the next race, I absolutely bullied this racer from Switzerland. Oh my God. I felt literally the worst. I was just talking to myself as I was doing it. I was going, oh my God, this is, I'm going to have to message this guy after and just be like, dude, I'm so sorry. It was my psycho girlfriend. She was playing. She's a psycho. She just wants to kill everything. Oh, I felt so bad. We accumulated like 9 seconds of actual penalties of, I must have hit the guy off about 4 or 5 times. It wasn't my proudest moment, chat. It wasn't my proudest moment. And we didn't even get reset. We went down to 64 SR. Didn't even get reset. So it might be a case of just waiting until Wednesday for the FIA races, entering an FIA race and just quitting, because that really drops you down. I don't know if it drops you down in SR though. I know it really kicks you in the balls for driver rating, but I don't know if it does anything for sportsmanship rating, which it should. Oh, if you're wondering what this is as well, it's a freaking spot, and it was massive. Oh my god, this is how relaxed I am. This is how relaxed I am talking to you and talking to the freaking internet. It was like, you know, one of those big ones that's like, oh my god, there is something in there. It might be an alien. There might be something living under my skin. And I popped it, and it genuinely scared me. It was like someone had just let off a firecracker. Oh gosh. And then the pain comes. And then that sweet feel of release, that the pressure's gone from your face. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today. Yeah, 64 isn't low enough. So that was my afternoon yesterday. I watched the IGTL. A lot of fast boys in there. It looked really cool. It wasn't as professional as I was expecting. I was expecting like really I'm not bashing it at all, but I thought like all this hype about it, all the best drives and everything, and then it was a little bit underwhelming. I need to exfoliate. I know I have actually been washing my face, so like this spot and this one up here are like, I think the last spots I'm gonna have in a while, because I'm using face scrub and I'm using wipes as well each day, so it's actually gonna get a lot better, and it is a lot better apart from those two, whatever. I didn't mean to swear, these two. So I watched the IGTL and I was a little bit underwhelmed. There wasn't really nothing really happened apart from a little battle at the end between CSX and TSR, and that was about it. Like, one of the drivers was invisible. I know that's down to the game being as buggy as it is, but it was like, it was underwhelming. There's supposed to be 13 races. There was only 11 racing. Two of them, one couldn't connect and the other couldn't make it. And also Jev Team Racing are the first reserve. So, you know, I was watching it all. I was watching it for about half an hour before the race started. So I was like, and Jev are in the Jev team are first reserve. So if they need someone, they go, hey, can you jump in? Or they're supposed to. There was 30 minutes they could have done that. I was sitting there watching. I'm not saying I would have literally finished last, but I'm saying if they wanted a person in there, they could have just reached out, but they didn't, so it's fine. I'm not bitter about it. It just would have made it seem a little bit more professional, a little bit of a fuller grid, because the difference between 11 cars driving around a track and 16 cars is a lot. There's 5 less cars on the track, so there's a lot more space, and that's what it seemed. There was just a lot of space in that race, which is, you know, I'm not going to say boring, because the level of driving was so high. So if you understand the game, you understand that, wow, these guys are really on the edge the whole time. You know what I mean? So let's talk about let's talk about driving mentality. So we could talk about it in terms of what it does to your race. I think it's dependent on what kind of situation you're in. Are you in a daily race? Are you in time trial? Are you in qualifying? Are you in an FIA race? I think different environments or situations bring out different levels of demand on your mentality and on your psychology. So if you're talking about the environment with less stress, I think you're talking about time trial, where you're just time trialing against yourself, which, dependent on how much you care about it, is how much pressure you put on yourself. So I started a new Jev Racing Discord, which is just for the Jev Racing team and racers who are in other teams that we're going to face. So it's nice and easy setting up team events. Every week in there's a time attack, and it's just, a car on a track. How fast can you go? And then it's sort of the fastest driver wins a point for their racing team. Blah blah blah. There's a leaderboard, whatever it is. So even in that situation where you're just on your own on the track, you're just trying to beat yourself, basically, can get very, very stressful. And the pressure, like you say, Swift, can get to you. So if you have your ghost on, that's another added pressure as well. So I personally, I like to drive without the ghost, and I just have the time delta at the bottom. So you can just see if you're up and down on your lap. But talking about psychology in that moment, it's, what do you think about? How do you go around resetting your brain so you're not feeling the pressure of the situation? In time trials, I just think I set a couple of laps, and I'm like, okay, that's my base time. Now I think about what I can do to be better, where I'm being slow. So I try a couple of different things. I try some different brake bias around some different corners and see if that works. And if it's faster, then I'm like, okay, I'll put it there. And then when you get around a whole lap and you've done really well, and now it's the end couple of corners, then you have that kind of pressure as, okay, I can't mess up. And then say it's the last corner, you might go a little bit too deep, or you might brake early, or whatever it is that makes you lose time. And that translates into qualifying as well. So when you're qualifying for a race, whether it's FIA race or a timed effort for a daily race as well, those stressful areas really, really do make you mess up, or just think differently. Because as soon as you think about, okay, I don't want to mess up, so you're on the straight coming into the last corner and you think, okay, I can't mess up, you're already thinking about something else than the corner. You're not thinking about the corner, you're thinking about messing up. Does that make sense? So you're already not thinking about what you should be. So how do you do that? How do you go about not thinking about that kind of stuff? I feel pressure in a race, just now. Had 3 races just now, beat the same SS driver twice. Then this race, he was on my ass the whole race and made a mistake. You made a mistake. It's a lot different racing with someone than I think that's something about racecraft, isn't it? I mean, if the pressure got to you and you made a mistake because you're feeling pressured, I guess that's different. But it depends how he passed you or how he made that mistake. Did he go on the inside to make you drive off your racing line and then you made a mistake? Because that's then racecraft. You know what I mean? That's, okay, I'm in a different position. Now I need to, drive differently. If he's pushed me narrow, then my braking marker has changed and I have to brake a little bit earlier to make the apex. So whether it's, he's made you drive differently or you've just made a mistake, you know what I mean? Imposter syndrome is so difficult to cope with. What is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome. Tell me more, James. Tell me more. I get nervous more than anything when someone is driving close to me. Just literally because he was behind me. So in those moments, my advice to you is to just focus on your braking points. It was like this in, I'll take my FIA race on Saturday as an example. Last lap, we're in second place, couple of seconds off the lead. We're not going to catch the guy in first, so all we need to do is to focus on not crashing, and that's the first thing that comes into your mind. So that's when the pressure starts to build. Okay, I can't crash, I can't crash, I can't crash. And what is that going to make you do? Is probably going to make you crash. You know what I mean? So Rob in chat, he was like, focus. And that's what you've got to do. I think you've just got to take something that's inside yourself, have that ability to step away from the situation like you're watching yourself from above and be like, okay, you just need to relax. What do you need to work on? I need to work on braking points, entry angles, acceleration points coming out of the corner. That's what you have to focus on. You need to recenter your brain and be like, okay, this is what I need to do. Because I was looking at the time delta on the side and I thought, oh, there's someone switched over. Like the guy that was behind me is not behind me now. And thinking about this stuff over here is taking off focus from the race. So forget about that. I need my braking point for this right-hander coming up so I can get out of it nice and easy without a spin. That's my thing that I've been working on, is recentering it. And it's very, very hard to do while streaming. I said myself, I need to just sometimes in those races, just cut out the streaming side and be like, okay, I just need to race for 2 laps. Give me 2 laps, guys. Give me 2 laps. Let me race, and then I'll be back streamer boy after. Because when I'm streaming, I always want to commentate, and when I'm commentating, I'm looking at this bit, I'm looking at the bottom, I'm looking at the map up here, I'm looking behind me, and all that kind of stuff. Basically, when you're feeling like you're not good enough to be doing the task that you're doing, like you'd be worried you're not good enough to be racing with the other people or the team, and when you start messing up because you're anxious. Yeah, so that's something that goes into a race even before you get into the race. So you're like, oh, I'm not even good enough to be here. So I'll take an example of, who was it the other day? Chaos Rising, I think it was. We were driving in a ISRL race. It was no, it wasn't. It was the CRN endurance race. And there's some fast people in there. The guy that won it has been a finalist, ERT Olegna. And going into it was like, in the warm-up, he's like, in the comment section, like, I'm way out my league or something like that. And that's already affecting your driving style. When you're already thinking negative about your ability to compete with other people, you're now focusing on them rather than your own driving style and what you're doing in the race. So, we're just highlighting things here. I don't think we're coming up with like absolute categoric answers, but I think we can highlight a lot of stuff, have this discussion, and anything that's helped anyone here, then that can help as well. Yeah, being anxious is a killer, especially when it's like, okay, I'm going to be cautious into this corner when it's a really fast corner and you're not going into it at the speed or the confidence or the commitment level that you should be doing it. Then you end up understeering off, or you cut the corner because you broke too early or stuff like that. Not only does it lose you time, but you might get a penalty or crash. So focus on what's around me and not ahead, or the other way around. I wouldn't worry about what's ahead of you, because that's not directly affecting you. The only time that I think you should be worried about what's in front of you is if you're coming around to a back marker and they're not ghosted, but that rarely ever happens, or if you're in the slipstream of someone in front of you, because that obviously then if you're on the straight and you're in someone's slipstream, you're going to be going faster by the time you get to the corner, so you're going to need to brake earlier. So that's the only time then but then does that count as being around you? My rule is if I'm going on a straight going into a corner, I do just glance at the delta, and if they're 0.3, I don't worry about it. I know when it's down in B license, it's like they might go for a 3/4 dive into the corner, but I try not to let that affect my driving, because then if I'm going to go defensive, that's going to affect my line going into the corner. Then I'm going to be slower out and they're going to be closer. I'm going to lose time. So I'm going to try to stay on my racing line for as long as possible. If they're 0.2, 1/10 behind me, then I'm going to go defensive. Then I'm going to change my line to make sure I stay in that position. But that's the only time that I really change my driving style, is if they're like 0.2 or closer to me. So I would focus on what is happening 20 meters in front of the car, what corner you're coming up to. Focus on your driving. Focus on driving your race, not what the other guy's doing. Yeah. I mean, yes, but some kind of, so there's a thing called like stasis, or I can't remember what it is. My brother was talking about it, where, so for anyone who drives in real life out there, have you ever just got in a car and you do a drive? It might be a long drive, might be a short drive, but you get there and you don't really recall the drive that you've just been on. It's because your brain, your body just goes into that motion and it just goes, oh, we're driving, blah, blah, blah. So you're thinking about other things or whatever. And you don't really remember the drive. I go into that a lot when I'm racing, especially when I'm streaming. There's many races I can't even remember happening because I'm talking to stream or I'm doing whatever. But when I'm racing and there's a car in front of me and I really want to catch that car, I actually use that car as braking markers, which is bad, because if they make a mistake, I'm more likely to make a mistake because I'm just copying what they're doing. I'm watching where they're braking, so I'm braking there, I'm turning in when they turn in, and I'm literally just watching them the whole way through, and I'm barely watching what I'm doing, which is actually kind of bad. So I probably should change that, I think, but it seems to be working recently. What's up, sheep? No worries, man. It was just a bit of fun yesterday. Hit your marks, turn at the right times. Don't worry about where the other guy is. Yep. I found practice has helped my mentality in races more than anything else. I've done 50 laps of the track. I know how to take this corner, etc. Exactly. I'm BDR leveled. If someone is within 0.8 seconds, I expect them to try and move. I mean, that's extreme. Nearly a second back, that is extreme. That is like, okay, they've outbraked themselves more than anything. But if I take you back to the last Dodge video on Friday, there was 2 times where I knew they were going to make, I was in a B lobby and I knew they were going to make a move. It was like 0.3, 0.4 back, and I knew they were going to make a move. So I just stuck to my line. I let them go in and they went deep, and then I got the cut back on them. We should do another one of these, which talks about racecraft as well. I think racecraft will be a pretty cool discussion as well. But back onto mentality, I think being confident in your own ability is the main thing here. I've noticed myself that over the last week, I've legit got better in the last week, purely because, one, I've been playing it a hell of a lot. Oh, that's cold. And 2, I'm actually more confident in my abilities. My biggest thing recently has been getting on the power early. I've said it a lot in the videos that I've done recently, and like over the next 2 weeks, you're probably going to notice that it'll be like, okay, how early can we get on the power early to get smooth out of the corner, blah 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 blah. But that's a big thing for me. So my confidence in my own ability of when to get on the accelerator has improved. So I've got faster, if that makes sense. They don't know how to drive in slipstream a lot. Yeah, so you gotta be aware. I think awareness is part of racecraft as well. Knowing the quality of drivers around you helps a lot too. The quality of drivers is very poor, in my opinion. Welcome, Garrett. Good morning. Yeah, I mean, even in those, I mean, it doesn't happen in the top split. We see races on Tidgeney's channel or stuff like that, or Key's channel. We don't see mistakes or the stuff that we deal with in their streams. Wouldn't we all like to drive with people like like they drive with? Oh god, that'd be good, wouldn't it? That would be good. That gives space and stuff like that. And I think it's a generalization and a big blanket to say that people can't drive or don't know how to drive. I think there are more drivers who don't know how to race than do. I think the etiquette videos in Gran Turismo are they're decent. They do a good enough. They don't do a good enough job of explaining certain things and certain things to do in race. I think there needs to be a couple more. Maybe we'll do a video on that one day. It's just different things. Like, they don't talk about driving lines. They don't talk about etiquette and in braking or squeezing. But well, they do talk about squeezing people out. But I'd like to see, you know, what to do if someone squeezes you out. What do you do as a racer? You know what I mean? Do you let them squeeze you out because you're just going to go off the track, or do you then see it coming, brake, adjust your line, and go on a different route? I think there needs to be a video like that as well. Good morning, KLM. Good morning, Rory. How you doing, guys? How do you strike the balance between confidence and being arrogant and making mistakes due to being cocky? Ooh. So the fine line between confidence and being arrogant, I think there's a lot of, I think it's down to the ability of, can you self-check yourself? Are you able to step away from the situation and you know, check yourself to go, okay, I need to relax. You know, I've been in that position a couple of times where I've been going really, really well, and I'm like, cockiness, blah blah blah, and then I make a mistake, and then I say to myself, okay, I need to relax. So instead of making the mistake and realizing from the mistake, can you then rectify it before the mistake happens? Can you check yourself before that mistake happens? I think that's a big problem. Even though they don't know how to drive, why would you qualify to be a racer if you have poor driving skills? That's the difference between, some people are very good hot lappers, which especially in the daily races puts them higher up the order. There's a load of people out there that are very good at hot lapping, which puts them higher up on the list, which gives them a good chance to get good points, but then they can't race, so they just slowly fall down the list in race. That is a problem, but you can't rectify that, unfortunately. It happens in top split. Belling got murdered by RBR, by the team manager of at Red Bull Ring. Yeah, I mean, mistakes do happen as well. We do need to be able to go, okay, yeah, that was a mistake. Especially in, you know, in top split, it doesn't happen that often. So I was thinking about consistency the other day, and when we raced in that CRN endurance event, you know, Olegna, he just runs away and he wins, and he doesn't make any mistakes. No mistakes. The top guys don't make mistakes. But then when they do make a mistake, it's like, oh my God, he made a mistake. Oh, he's so bad. But like, if you go down A or B, people make mistakes all the time. You know, we were driving around Suzuka, and you know, some of the fastest people spin. I think that Raiden guy, ERT Raiden, super fast, spun on the first lap. You make mistakes. It's It is part of racing, but I think the psychology of different situations is what we're trying to hit at. I think FIAs bring a different level of stress, anxiety, and that fear of underperforming. I think I felt that a little bit when we've done team events. When we first did our first team event against VLX, it was really weird. We went in with the mentality of, oh, we're just going to do this for fun. It's fine. It doesn't matter if we make mistakes, blah, blah, blah. But then when you're in there, you're like, oh, if I mess up, I'm letting my team down. I'm not only letting my team down, I'm letting myself down. I'm making a fool of myself. I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm embarrassing my team. And then it snowballs like that. And you've just got to be like, okay, let's reset. I think that's going to be something that we just pull from today, is that reset. I think that helps a lot with any situation. Can you step back? Can you go, okay, I'm in this position. Can I just relax, get back to what I'm good at? I'm good at this track. I just need to get back to hitting my apexes, hitting my my braking markers. Oh, Rory, if you're still in there, I watched a bit of your last live stream. You're like popping on for a couple of daily races on GTS before the F1 yesterday. That was rough, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about, though. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it has changed for you as well. You expect a different, or you've grown a certain way that's made you expect something from a racing game. You know, you have made that shift over to iRacing a little bit more, which is a little bit more real, dare I say it. Realer than the real driving simulator. And you expect that little bit of difference from the game, and you come back and it's like, oh, well, this is meh. You know what I mean? I completely get that. I had that feeling when I went and I played a little bit of Project Cars 2 for a while. I'm an embarrassment. What the stream in itself. I know we all have those freaking moments though, dude. There was a stream the other day where, what were we doing? It was last Thursday or Friday, and I was doing open lobbies, and the open lobbies messed up. That was our that was on Friday. That was when I was trying to do endurance events and like the pit glitches and stuff. And I was just like swearing at the game. And I was like, oh, I watched that back and I was like, oh my God, that's. So I like deleted that section of the live stream and just. So I was like, oh no, that ain't happening. That ain't getting out there. But since then, I've been a lot happier. So, again, checking myself and being like, oh my God. I think it was Paul in the comments that was like, think of the new viewers, James. Think of the new viewers. New Porsche on Tokyo and new Mazda on Suzuka. This week? Is that this week? PS4 is currently on the bed with all of other shit. Really, me losing the plot and generally how I feel at the times I had to vent. Just, get out the wall. On the bed with you. On the bed with you. I know exactly what you mean. There's definitely been a couple of moments where I've wanted to go, you know what, PlayStation? You know what? Get it in the bin. Get in the bin. Race B still the same at the moment? Should change soon, though. It's going to be very sad packing up in here. This is what I'm doing today. We've got a stream at 12. We're going to do some daily races for, let's say, 3 hours. And then I'm packing up. Everything's going down. Green screen going in its box. Steering wheel over there getting put away. PlayStation in the box. Xbox in the box. I know. Usually Xbox all the time. TV down. Lights down. Taken apart. Put in the box. It's going to be sad time packing up the streaming room, putting the bed down, making it into a room again. Oh, sad times. Lived in this house for 2 years now. So, it's going to be interesting. Overdoor's right beside, so I go sit outside when I feel that rage. I haven't had the rage because of an in-game moment for a while. I'm telling a lie. That's an absolute lie. There is a video that makes me rage very soon that I made last night. So I might switch it around. I might drop that tomorrow because that's quite funny. All right, James, have a good one, man. Go save some lives. Good morning, Roland. How you doing? So we've talked about mentality. We've talked about, it kind of changes. The different levels of pressure do change in different situations. I can only imagine the pressure and the anxiety that people who drive, play iRacing have. Oh my God, you're in the cockpit view. If you crash, it actually matters because you get not only SR warnings, you get actual damage that stays on your car for the race. Simulation damage. Oh gosh, I can't imagine it. It's a challenge though. I would like to do it one day. I genuinely can't imagine it. But I think your mentality changes and the pressures that you face change with the situation and the environment that you're in. Obviously, as a streamer, it's a little bit more pressured because you have a audience or whatever it is, and you feel like recently I have been thinking that it doesn't matter what I do. Hopefully just the content is good enough or my personality is good enough to warrant viewers regardless of how well I'm doing on the game. You know what? I haven't actually had someone come in and say I'm bad at Gran Turismo yet. Probably ages ago, but in the last month or so, 2 months, I don't know. I haven't had anyone come in and say so. I don't know if that's something to do with how nice the community is or that I'm actually getting better. You know what I mean? That's a good point. The prep and mindset is different for sure. Everyone else's changes too. Yeah. God damn it, Paul! God damn it, Paul! I meant like legit troll coming in going, oh my God, you suck. You know what I mean? There's probably been parts where I've like gone off and be like, I'm literally the worst driver ever. And someone's gone, yeah, bro. Like, ironically. Good morning, Paul. But I think it does change, definitely with iRacing, the amount of prep that you have to do. You can't just jump into a game. You know what I mean? You can't just jump into a game and expect to be good at iRacing. You've got to put that work in. If I beat you twice in a week, you're terrible. I don't remember it. It didn't happen. No pictures, no proof. So mentality changes, whatever situation you're in. My biggest thing for helping, I think, would be can you recenter yourself? Can you check yourself in that situation? Not after something's happened, not after you've crashed, not after you've made a mistake, but can you reset yourself in the moment? If you're feeling anxious, stressed, whatever it is, can you just reset yourself? Can you reset yourself and go, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to hit my braking marker. I need to hit this. I need to hit that. Can I do it? You streamed one and made a video. That don't remember it. Don't remember it at all. Hacks. Yeah, that's what I would say. Can you recenter yourself? Can you go about getting back to the things that you're good at doing and be confident in that? I know that if I practiced in the group 3 and the group 4 categories, if I practiced, I could get within a second of the fastest people. That's what I know. So if I go in with that level of confidence, not expectation, but confidence. I think when you expect something, there's always a chance of it backfiring and going against you. But if you have a level of confidence going into it, I think that can be much better. I think don't expect anything, just be confident in your own abilities. I know it's the same thing, but I think the slight different wording, I think, can be very interesting. I read a book about psychology, and it's about when you teach kids stuff. So an example of this is if you have a child in front of you and they did really, really well at something and they excelled at something, there's two ways you can praise them. Either say, you're amazing, you're fantastic, you're the best at this, you're absolutely amazing. And that says to the kid that, okay, so doing well is the way that we get gratification. So I must do well in this. The only way I'm going to get gratification or praise is if I succeed. The second way you go about it with a kid, you say, oh, that's really, really good. How did that happen? They tell you that they worked really hard on it. And then you praise the hard work. So now they are, so you're like, oh, that's fantastic. How did you do it? They go, oh, I did this. Wow, you worked so hard. That's how you got it. So now you're praising the work rather than the end product. So now the kid is feeling that the way to get praise is to work hard. Do you see those two? Even by wording something different, you have two different paths now. The kids come in, he's done something or she has done something really good. If you praise the outcome, they go in one way. And if you praise the path behind it, the work behind it, they go in a different way. So I think that comes back to, which is really interesting. I love that stuff. I absolutely love it. That just your phrasing towards someone can change the way that they view themselves and view how to get praise. So I think that's the same about wording with yourself. If I say expectation or if I say confidence, that can lead me in two different ways. If I expect something, then when I don't hit it, I get very negative and go the other way. But if I say, oh, I'm confident in this, then I can always loop around back in the confidence and say, okay, I'm confident at doing this. Oh, I didn't get it, but I can be confident enough to get it back and do it again and try again. The other way, oh, I expect myself to get to this point or to do this thing. Oh, I didn't do it. Then that must mean I'm bad at it. It doesn't go that way. You don't expect to do it again because you've failed. You just go negative. So I think that's really, really interesting of just what you expect from yourself and how you talk to yourself mentally in your own brain affects outcomes and your experience of whatever it is. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Am I spitting pure facts right now? I think I am. I think I am. Practice. I could be much better if I practice. Yep. And I put a lot of practice in this week. So I think that's it genuinely shows on my races, my times, my experiences as well. Maybe putting in the merch as well, Swift. If you are looking to support the channel, there is 2K merch out right now. It's only available until the 17th of this month. So make sure you get in there. You get some if you want. I'm not telling you to go do that. I barely get any revenue off of it. I get like less than $2 from every item on there. So it is a good way of supporting the channel. But it's more something for yourself to be like, I was here when it was 2K. You know what I mean? Before we blow up, y'all, before we blow up and make our millions, this is your chance to be, hey, I was here from the start. Don't you question my integrity to the channel, my honor. But I think that's really cool. I think that's a really cool way of looking at it. I like that we've had this conversation and that's reminded me of a book that I read 4 years ago. How crazy is that? I've got to read that book again. Carol Dweck, Mindset. That's what it's called. Well, it's called Mindset by Carol Dweck. Going to buy 100 mugs and resell when you have 200,000K. Genius. Yes. But yeah, really cool. Definitely go and buy that book. I think it's on Amazon, I think. Then I can be that guy with 1,800 subs, bro. I think Paul was here 750 maybe. I practice more than racing, but I seem to get worse. Most probably practicing the wrong way. And I found I learned more while racing. I think your racecraft will improve while racing. Your knowledge of a track. It depends what you're doing. You're either just going around a track or you're actively trying to improve. And I think those are two different things as well. Those are two different ways we can look at it. You know, that whole 10,000 hour rule to get elite or professional or something. What's up, Letty? Good morning. Good morning. You know, it's 10,000 hours of actual progression, active you're thinking about progressing rather than just doing 10,000 hours of something. You're doing 10,000 hours of progressive work that you are 100% focusing on everything. I don't think it's bollocks. I think it's a good umbrella. It's a good cover thing for something. I think it's that progressiveness. It's I can't remember the word. There's a word that goes with it. So the example was this. If you're, good morning, Terrence, how you doing, man? If you're driving, so if you're a driver, if you drive in life, there is a massive chance that you've driven over 10,000 hours in your life. Massive. Are you a race car driver? No, because you haven't been actively trying to become a race car driver. There's a difference between doing something for 10,000 hours and trying to become better at something for 10,000 hours. Those are the two different things. I could do a private session for a relevant practice. Yeah. So I could do a one-on-one session with a young football player, but we could just go through the motions, kick it to each other, make him shoot on the goal a couple of times. He's not going to really learn anything from that. But if we go about what he needs to practice on, what he's weak at, what he's good at, and create a thing that really progresses him and makes him go further, those 2 hours are completely different. You know what I mean? Completely different. I wish PS4 told me how many hours I spent on whatever games. There is on Gran Turismo, you can check how many hours you've raced for. If you go to the milestones down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can go and check and it will tell you how long you've raced for. That's not how long you've sat in lobbies or in waiting areas. It's just how long you've raced for. I think on King Jeb, it's like 28 days. Oh, gosh, can you imagine? Had an addictiveness rating, really? I hate it. I hate games that tell you how much you played. I played PUBG from when it first came out on Xbox, and it told you how many hours and days you played it, and I was like, oh gosh, like seriously, go outside. Well, we're gonna wrap it up right here. Obviously, 2K, whoop whoop, still living off that hype. I need to go decaffeinate, if you know what that means. You know. So today we're going to stream at 12 for a couple of hours, do some daily races, because then I need to get all this packed up and ready to move tomorrow. But we talked about some really cool stuff. I think that psychology is a massive part of any sporting event, whether it's esports or real sports. And I think that it does have a massive effect on your performance if you let it get to you. So really cool. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, all that jazz. You know, this is a really cool conversation. So if you could share it as well, that'd be even better for other people to come, sit out, hat and chang, or chang and hang, chat and hang, whatever it is. Don't cry packing up. No, I'm actually looking forward to getting out of this place. So Yep, going to be live in a couple of hours. Thanks for the chat. Have a fantastic gay. Oh my God. Yeah, maybe I need to go back to bed. No, I'm going to have a good one. Have a fantastic day. See you in the next one. All that jazz. See you later. Ooh.